Good morning, everyone. You're watching Finance and Technology Insights with Brian and Eric. I'm your co-host, Eric Buhrendorf. Alongside, I have Brian Williams. How's it going, Brian?
Very, very good this morning. How about you?
You're good, doing good. This is episode 26. For the viewers out there who haven't watched this, there's many still, if you can believe it or not. We do a podcast, video cast, YouTube channel, whatever the kids are calling it these days, called Finance and Technology Insights, where Brian represents the finance sector. I try to represent the technology sector, although Brian is a geek in his own right. So
Thank you, I think.
Yeah. Well, hey, geek is actually not it's not a pejorative anymore. So
no.
We do have a YouTube channel. Let me just pop this on the screen. We have a YouTube channel where this content is sourced. Although, you know what I have to add to this is our Anchor channel for our podcast. We are available. Brian strips the audio and syndicates it up on the Anchor, which pushes it out to your favorite podcast. We do have a Facebook page that we use kind of as our community. And, I want to give a little plug to Brian's business, Northshire Consulting. What do you have to say about Northshire?
Well, we work with individuals and families trying to consolidate. That's a big deal these days as people change jobs. They got accounts all over the place. So figure out what the best home for them is. That's been a big area of push. And, Connecticut-based fiduciaries. So for those who know what that means, that's a valuable
fiduciary.
Word. For those who don't know what that means, they probably should. Yeah, that's what we do.
Cool. I am the CEO of EVERNET Consulting. We're an IT services company helping businesses all over the country with their IT related needs. And if you have any questions, feel free to go to my website, evernetco.com. And Brian, by the way, yours is northshireconsulting.com.
Yep.
All right. So that was housekeeping. What's going on in the world of Brian?
Well, back in Connecticut after, I don't really feel right calling them vacations because we always we're working during them, but we spent a couple of weeks at my mother-in-law's in late June, and then we came back home for a little bit and then spent, I guess, about 10 days at my mother's. We went Friday, a full week, and then the following Monday. So kind of wrap around a couple weekends there. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Last show we talked about, got into the whole fire tower stuff and in the Adirondacks, which is fascinating, at least to us. So I'm glad you showed some interest in that.
I had a lot of fun with that episode, actually. Did you see Megan's thumbnail?
Yeah,
thumbnail she did for us.
Yeah,
can't mouse over, but it's right here.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And just following up on that. So when I was out at one of the bookstores, I picked up a book that ended up being a little bit different than I thought it was, but it's still a good book nonetheless. And I sort of paired that with a book that I got from the local library. So I was trying to scramble through and read that one and give that back to my mother to return and read the other one too. But it really is a fascinating, at least to me, the whole idea of the Adirondacks and the idea of the public-private partnership, if you will, because it's very different than anything else. I mean, you can fit a number of I probably should know this, but you could fit like Yellowstone, Grand Canyon National Park, Yosemite. You could fit all of those inside the Adirondacks. I don't think people realize how large it is. And the Adirondacks is larger than the state of Massachusetts, so it's an enormous area, and there is parts that are protected as forever wild and owned by the state, but you still have people that live there and run businesses and send their kids to school and do all that sort of stuff. So there's issues that will never be resolved because you have that constant push-pull of trying to make it a home for people, to allow them to do the things that they need to do to, grow their businesses and raise a family and enjoy what's there, while at the same time protecting it from abuse and misuse. So it's fascinating just to see those conversations, formed in the late 1800s, and we'll still be having these same discussions for, till the end of time about the constant push pull of, and even just the changing of the borders over the over the years and broadening the boundaries of what's considered the Adirondacks. Certain people want to have the boundaries expanded because they want to say their business or their home is in the Adirondacks. Some want to push it in and have it, not be part of the Adirondacks because of all the restrictions that come with it. So,
I'm not being rude. What I'm trying to do feverishly is find. I read an article, I think earlier in the spring. I can't find it, but I had no idea. But have you ever seen Dirty Dancing?
Yes.
So that movie, filmed in the 80s, was about a family in the 50s that were, I'm guessing, Jersey or New York, kind of down in the city area, summering in a resort in upstate New York, which I'm guessing was the Adirondacks. And apparently it was very popular in the 20th century, in the early 20th century, for well-to-do families to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was representative of a very common thing in the early century.
Sure.
Families would just go up to these beautiful mountain resorts and lake resorts. And I read an article in the spring about how there's like a bunch of these resorts that are just like ghost towns that are just sprinkled in the hills. Have you have you read or seen?
Oh yeah. So yeah, and that's really what so one of the book I got from the library was Great Camps of the Adirondacks. So, most people think of camping as, a tent, or even now with, the glamping, but, a lot of people with large homes or large even compounds at that point were considered camps and still are. But yeah, JP Morgan, number of people. And so that balance of them trying to build and do those sort of things at the same time protecting the forever wild. And then you have people who tried to push regulation and different things for what sounded like good ideas, but it was basically, well, we want to pass this because we want to be able to do this and not let anybody else do that. And one of the early interesting characters of the Adirondacks was the supposed like preservationist, but it was just, he was trying to build a railroad straight through that went from New York City to Montreal. And that was his business interest. So he was trying to make everything else but his little lane forever wild to protect his business interests. So there's a ton of those stories, the great camps, and now even that's it's what to do with some of the great camps that have started to deteriorate. Do they fix them up and restore them, or historical properties, or do they just let them go and just sort of let them go back to the wild? So it's these are fascinating discussions, and it was certainly not uncommon for people to vacation. At that time, vacation was still relatively new. If you think about it, you went from, most of what you're doing was survival. It was farming. It was doing this. So the idea of leisure or vacation was pretty new. So it really was very interesting. So I'm interested in like that whole era of people building these great camps and the push pull of forever wild versus trying to get some enjoyment and use out of it. I think is fascinating.
So I found the article, I pulled it up, and now I'm embarrassed. Did I just conflate the Catskills with the Adirondacks? Are those not?
Yeah, you might have. Yeah, Catskills is quite a bit farther. It's southern New York, whereas Adirondacks is northern New York. But
okay, so let's just do a little history, geographic. Adirondack Mountains, North America. Let's see, we'll get a picture here. Come on, Wikipedia.
Yes, that doesn't quite have the...
So the Adirondacks north of Albany. So is this, if I'm just mousing around here, but is this effectively the Adirondacks?
Yeah,
starts.
Yep, that's about it. Yeah.
But it doesn't come down to south of Albany.
Oops, hold on.
Would this be the Catskills?
No, definitely not south of Albany.
So maybe this is the Catskill area here.
Yeah.
Westkill. Okay, somebody's killing somebody. Interesting. Okay. All right. So maybe I conflated the Catskills with the Adirondacks. I apologize.
Well, a lot of what you said is true. There are a lot of abandoned sites and a lot of abandoned ore mining. I mean, there's whole towns that had populations, in the triple digits, which was a big deal, that are now completely abandoned, and you can't even. It's not like they're even, you'd even drive through them. The roads have been reclaimed, as they say.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. I was right on it. Okay. So it looks like the Catskills are southwest of Albany.
Yeah.
And the Adirondacks are north of Albany. So okay, that's a little geography lesson. So that's cool. Yeah, I just thought that this was. I mean, I guess maybe it ties in. I don't know how many resorts are up in the Adirondacks, but this article I read. This was December, I guess. I read this that up in the mountains north of and I guess we'll say around the Albany, New York area. You had those resorts like you'd see in Dirty Dancing that they went to, and now look at them. Like you see, they have some pictures here that they're just the buildings are still there, but there's no commerce there, so they just left them.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, this is just.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So this is. So I'm originally from right here. I think you do see the mouse over when I do this, but yep. So right at the tip here, this little angle, the Sacandaga Lake here, Great Sacandaga Lake. So we went up, and even the story of Lake Placid itself, this tiny little town has managed to host 2 winter games, which is fascinating. 1932 and 1980, I believe. So
wow.
But yeah, a lot of really interesting story, and then Catskills down here, you can see the outline of the mountains down here. Mountains. But so I was really wrapped up into that and free time reading that sort of stuff, the push pull. And normally this is displayed as kind of a blue line. So they talk about expanding the blue line, or that's kind of the slang or whatever, is that inside the blue line or outside the blue line?
Got it.
Yeah, so it really is interesting, and the sheer size of it, most people don't fully grasp.
Yeah, you could fit at least Rhode Island in there, maybe in Delaware.
Yeah, Massachusetts, larger than Massachusetts
by area, right?
And where was?
To the viewers and listeners out there not interested in geography, hang in there. We're going to talk tech. We're going to talk finance pretty soon.
Yeah. So it says it's the largest publicly protected area in the U.S., greater than the size of Yellowstone, Everglades, Glacier, Grand Canyon National Park combined.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and the the main county in here is Hamilton County, which is the least sparsely populated person per square mile county this side of the Mississippi. So that'll give you some perspective.
Population 10?
Not quite, but it's sparse.
I wonder if that sparsity is due to the area over the mountains, right? I mean, it's hard to populate mountains.
Yep. Yeah, it's just livable area, and obviously the protection of state land and all that kind of stuff. Many factors. But
cool. So when will you go back up to the lake house, you think?
I don't know. Probably. So we talked about the fire tower, one of those fire towers that has been moved and put back into place. They're opening that on Labor Day. So generally try to stay away from holiday weekends. So maybe Labor Day weekend or maybe the weekend after, we'll try to get up there and check that out. But
nice.
Yep.
So this weekend we had a pretty slow weekend. On Friday we had a friend's birthday party who lives on our street.
And a house on your street, right?
Yeah, house on the street. Yeah, they don't live on the street, thankfully. And then we went to IKEA. My youngest, the girls had matching bunk beds, so a couple of years ago they wanted bunk beds, and then the oldest dropped her bunk bed down, so now she's on the ground, and then the youngest has been making the same request. So I just had kind of like one of those moments where like, oh, okay, you no longer want this bed, you want a different bed. So we bought a new bed, non-bunk bed at IKEA, and then I brought it up, it came a couple weeks later, brought it upstairs. And just as I was like, my father who lives with us, I said, Dad, help me take the bunk bed off of the kind of the riser frame. And we put it down on the ground. I said, oh, geez, I said, there's a perfect bed on the ground on the ground floor for her. So we didn't end up needing the bed that I bought. So
Nice.
Which is unfortunate because I paid $100 to have it shipped because I'm not a big fan of taking the drive down to New Haven, Connecticut for IKEA, but my wife loves that error. So we went to IKEA. I think, what did we do? I think that was a Sunday trip we took, and returned that. And, it does give us something to do. It's an hour down for us. And
yeah. Did you get some meatballs?
We did. Yeah, we
Nice.
actually did. Which, it's funny. It's like iconic, but it's like iconic bad food. I don't know if you've ever had the IKEA cafeteria before, but it's iconic food, but it's just iconically bad, like a Big Mac or something. You know what I mean? So that's what we did for the weekend. Not much going on. We got some stuff happening this week that I'll be excited to share with everybody next week.
Oh, a teaser! I love it.
Yeah, a little teaser. But I want to hear what's going on in Northshire Consulting.
Awesome. Good time to squeeze a drink in, right? You got 6 seconds to get a drink in. I love it. So it was as much business as usual as possible. We only took that one Wednesday we took off to go to Lake Placid, and we went up Whiteface in the gondola, which my son was like, he loved it. It's about a 10-minute ride up, save down obviously, but tons of fun.
Do they have an alpine slide up there?
They have just about everything. So they, I don't
know. Was it Whiteface?
Yeah.
I'm going to look at that because I want to take the girls down an alpine slide this summer.
They have, they have, so we ate lunch on the lake, which is interesting. The town is Lake Placid, but it borders Mirror Lake. So if you're sitting in Lake Placid eating lunch, you're looking out on Mirror Lake probably. But Lake Placid is actually away from the town a little bit. So yeah, we did the gondola ride, and business wise, yes. So business wise, I was able to. No, that's okay. I got the.
I'm trying to strengthen our visuals with supporting.
No, this is good
visuals. I don't see Lake Placid though. Where's Lake?
Yeah, so you can zoom in a little bit.
East Lake is one of these little lakes. Lake. Is this like a whole resort area down through here?
Yeah. Can you zoom in a little bit more? I think.
No, these are little ponds. But there's the mountain right there where the push pin is.
Yeah.
I'm guessing here. Let's see, Lake Placid.
Saranac. So a little bit to the east of Saranac Lake. So you see the town of Lake Placid there to the southeast.
I am not a Lake Placid. Google. Oh.
Yeah.
So is this Lake Placid? I guess that is Lake Placid. Yes. They just calling it, that's East Lake, I guess. Oh, yeah. Lake Placid. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lakes everywhere.
I don't know how they get anybody to swim in that lake after that movie about the big alligator.
Right? Yeah, I know. So we did that on Wednesday. Did record a couple pieces of content. I forget if one was out. I guess I know for sure one was last night. So let me share this guy's book to give him a.
We need to get your social links on your webpage.
I guess I don't have them at the top.
On the header. Okay, there's your.
So I did an interview last night with a guy name's Brian Gillette. He wrote kind of an interesting book, not necessarily finance related, although he came from the finance field, but he wrote a book called Epic Performance, and EPIC is kind of an acronym for envision, plan, iterate, collaborate. and then he has performance at the end. But really interesting guy. He himself was a bit of an endurance athlete, so he's done some endurance events himself. Those are considered longer than a marathon. So he did 205 miles around Lake Tahoe and some kind of oddball stuff about them. But what he did was he spoke to 100 people who were endurance athletes, but also, C-level executives, people in the C-suite, and just tried to get those parallels and learn the different traits. So he went through and interviewed those 100 people and put together a book. So it was interesting on a lot of different levels, because all that stuff crosses over into the investment world or any of the kind of self-help world.
Right.
Good summer reading, good stuff like that. But, the idea of thinking long-term and making, small incremental changes every day, so I thought that really tied in, and we had a good time. So we recorded that last night. He's in California, so we did it a little bit
Is this
later
the
last
book? Do I
night.
have this right?
Let's see here. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the author was Brian Gillette.
Yeah, so it comes out in August 16th. That book comes out, so available for pre-order now. But I did read a copy of it. It's very good. He's getting more
How did
active.
you connect with him before the book came out?
Yeah, so he was just I don't know if he was listed. It must have been like in the business category or something. So I was just looking through books that would interest me and people I would want to have conversations with, and that book came up. So I found him on one social media platform. I don't even remember which one, or maybe just his email address, or even has his own website. So I think he's got epicperformance.com. So I may have just reached out to him through that. So yeah, it's interesting talking to authors. I mean, some of them are like first time authors and they're still kind of feeling their way. And this guy was really well organized, because he had the website, he had like his bio sheet and synopsis of the book, and he sent me a copy of the front cover and the back cover, and the inside the jacket and all that stuff. So he was ready to go, and it was a really good interview. So I think there's going to be a lot of parts of that I can kind of slice up and get out to my audience. So again, not really investment related, but I think it fits into the category. That's why my stuff is always 401k and beyond. That gives me the leeway to go anywhere I want with it. But I think it's something that my audience will enjoy, and we'll be able to do some nice snippets there and share it on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and all that good stuff. So
nice. I love it. I love the work you're doing with the book reviews. That's cool. I wish there was.
Yeah.
I could spend maybe some more time on it, but I would have to. I think I would be having to stretch trying to find some authors on. I don't know how many books there are on business. I guess I do deal with the realm of business performance, but how do I tie that into the kind of the systems, tools, and processes we use? I know there are a couple, but still, I like what you're doing. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yes, I did reach out to somebody that you and I could actually tag team that I think would work pretty well. So we could talk about it now or afterwards. But I haven't heard back from the person yet, so maybe you don't want to call her out.
Maybe not. I was actually thinking, I was like, geez, maybe I should ride your coattails with the connections you're making and see if the guy wants to do another piece, because I'm thinking lessons from 100 executives. I mean, I might be able to find a tie-in to the technology piece. I don't know. Did you read the book?
I did. Yep.
Were any of those lessons use the right systems or tools or processes?
Well, I think in knowing you and having a conversation with him, so he's from a little bit of the HR world, which I know we've talked a little bit about on this show, the struggles of finding people right now, and such a hard thing to do to find the right people. So I think there's probably a bit of a crossover there in terms of maybe what to look for in people, or maybe some of those oddball questions. Sometimes you're on Twitter, LinkedIn, and there's like, here's a question that Microsoft asks all their potential hires and stuff like that. So he's probably got some of those. We didn't go too much into that HR world, but I bet there's probably some crossover there. You could do a bit of you could probably stretch that out, but I don't know. You could probably, if you're perusing Amazon and whatever, you can probably maybe find some first-time authors and stuff, or somebody who's, I don't know, maybe got a book that doesn't come out for 3 months. So the first one I did, I reached out to the guy like way early. It was kind of a Hail Mary because he worked for Financial Times, and he's done a lot of media appearances already. But I'm like, well, I'll shoot my shot. Why not? Takes 10 seconds to, email somebody. So
Right.
I did it, and he responded. He's like, my book's not out yet. It doesn't come out for like 3 months. I'm like, yeah, but content lives forever, So it kind of sold him on the idea. And by the time we got around to scheduling it and recording it, it was like 6 months before his book came out anyway. So it worked out fine. But I like talking to authors, and it's a good fit for them because they get to, get their content out. And I think for a lot of these people, they're trying to move up the scale in terms of people that they talk to and audiences or something. So if you have a first time author that's like, all right, I can do an interview with this guy because, there'll be 10 people watching or whatever, and hone my skills so that if I do get called up to the big leagues somewhere, then I'll be ready to go. So,
so are you posting? And again, I know that you guys have to navigate an interesting regulatory environment, but can you not post any of that on your website?
I haven't done no, I could do that. I mean, I'm my own compliance department, so I could kind of decide that as long as I'm not giving any investment advice or anything like
Okay.
that, and put on the disclosures and stuff like that. I mean, if I was with a bigger firm or a chain or a franchise or something like that, they might give me a hard time. They probably wouldn't even let me do it to begin with. They'd probably see it as a waste of time or whatever. But
because all of your content is just living on your social media, right?
correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so you're not tracking any analytics as to what traffic you might be driving to your website.
Um, not
Not really, right?
not really. I mean, I know I've gotten clients from social media, and I know that it's, helped me solidify relationships with people, and it keeps me in front of them, and I'll see a lot of people like my posts or join my groups that are clients or prospects and that kind of stuff. So it's a good way to keep your name in front of people, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of had a thought out loud as we were just just a second, that because I'm looking at your website right now. I don't have it up on the screen, but
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me using you as a guinea pig here. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking this from myself too, and it seems like there's a disconnect between the content you're producing. All of this content we're producing should be an inbound vector for our businesses,
Right.
And traditionally there's been the blog, the obligatory blog or newsletter link on everybody's website. But I'm starting to think maybe we, I'm thinking for mine anyways, we should not do a blog, and we should just call it activity feed or feed.
Yeah, you could do that. So if you click on, so you still have my website open there. So if you click on blog, so I've got some articles that I've put down, but if you scroll down a little bit, so that one there to the left, that Chantal Sheiks. So if you click on that, so that does have the whole YouTube interview that
Oh,
I
there you
did
go.
with her, and
Yeah.
then underneath that we did the I transcribed that and put that into there. So
nice. Okay, so you're doing it. You're doing it.
yep. And then that's one that I did the audio and put that out on a podcast and stuff like that. So
Okay, so you are kind of doing that.
yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of time to do that. And
Well, it'd be nice to have a plug-in here that would just like feed, drop in whatever.
yeah, you can do that. I had, you can, obviously put an RSS feed in there and then have all your YouTube videos just kind of come up chronologically, or you can have your podcast displayed on your website and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't think that people aren't probably going to sit at your website and watch this. You will prefer to, I think, have them go to YouTube and watch it and kind of explore there. I don't know.
No,
You do.
I know, but the content should be, yeah, they're finding it there, but then you want them, the content there will drive them. You obviously have links to your webpage and stuff, which will drive them there. Just thinking, like, if you're already here at the website, you want to see all that content too. So you almost kind of want to do this like cross drive, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, this is something I've been contemplating for my website.
Yeah. And I do my email newsletter too. And usually that's got, so I did one last week, and I think that had links to, you know, the book reviews that I've done or summer reading or things like that. So there's always a million more things you can do, right? It's just a matter of what fits in time wise and the process and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, I think ideally, you know, if I did half an hour of content with somebody, we'd do the transcription, we'd do the blog, we'd do the, you know, the LinkedIn, Twitter, the group, everything, and then kind of slice it up. I like doing the transcription because you can actually, Adobe Premiere Pro will do the transcription. It's not perfect, but it's, you know, it's 98% of the way there. But then you can jump to where you're speaking, so it you know, separates the speakers. So I could go question by question and slice those up into individual pieces if I wanted to. So you know, most people who are doing the books or doing the these interview kind of things, usually they're talking probably at least 75% of the time. So in a half an hour, you maybe ask 10 or 12 questions. So, you know, slicing up something that's around 3 minutes or less will work well on the other platforms too. So, you know, again, just finding the time and getting it out there. I think the most important thing is on a lot of those, it's not necessarily that timely. So if I go through and slice up something that I did last November and get it out there for the book, for somebody's book, it's still relevant. It's still, you know, a good read. It's all that kind of stuff. So, and the other thing is too, you want to be careful that your clients aren't think with, you know, this guy's supposed to be managing my money and all he's doing is interviewing authors. You know, you don't want people to say that either.
Good
So
point.
you have to be careful. All this guy's doing is so on social media all day, and he's not,
Right.
you know, well, the market's falling apart and I'm down 20% this year, and this guy is out doing interviews. And so you got to be careful of that too, especially from the old timers, you know, because they're
Right.
very siloed about, you know, they don't realize that people can do different things and, you know, before hours or after hours on the weekend. So all that stuff, right?
My problem is exactly that. Like I have a lot more content that I want to produce and put out. But running the business takes a lot of time.
Well, speaking of your business, let's find out what's happening in your world.
Yeah, so that basically that's what I've been. I got to turn off Teams because I'm starting to get a series of inquiries. There we go. Bye, guys and gals. Yeah, so I've been building out the marketing team, and we just hired a real superstar web developer, which I'm really excited about, which we were much needed. We hired, did I tell you last week, I hired a couple writers, creative writers and researchers.
Yeah.
So those, you know, the team is kind of like coalescing. We've had a team, but like we've had a couple characters kind of drop over the years. But I've spent 15 years building the service side of my business, and the cream has really risen to the top over there. And so, you know, the accounts team, the account management, the service delivery side, the business administration, you know, that's a lot. You know, things may change or whatever, but like zero turnover in the last 7 years, I think. And it's just everybody's operating at a high level. The last team that I've been building is the sales and marketing team. And so I'm just kind of like I'm kind of like on year 3 or year 2, you know what I mean? Of that effort. So, you know, we're really starting to get some strong players, and I'm really excited because it's all of the stuff that we're talking about, websites and blogging and content. It really does require a team. It's so, I mean, you're doing it all on your own right now, but it's a lot. It is a lot. And there's always more you can be doing. And, you know, I have a lot of video that I want to produce. We have lists of things that I want to produce,
Right.
But it's time consuming, and I'm still the HR manager. You know what I mean? I'm still the sales executive. I'm still the account executive. So, you know, I'm still the CTO. I'm the only person in the C-suite over here. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm really lucky that like most of the business is running optimally with very little input from me at this point. But building out a sales and marketing Now my phone's blowing up. Let me just put this on. There we go. So yeah, just building out I've been calling it sales and marketing, but I can almost see that sales and marketing become kind of quickly their own teams for obvious reasons. But they, they're just there. You need to overlap so many of the stakeholders, even to the service delivery. If you're changing something on marketing, sales kind of informs marketing, but service informs sales, and like everybody's got to talk. Of course, everybody wants to be in a silo. Oh, we don't deal with that, so so anyways, that's what I've been working on. So there will be some new and exciting things coming out of our marketing function pretty soon. So
Another teaser.
another teaser. Yeah. It's coming. There's some fun stuff that's coming. So that's what I've been working on.
And you guys survived the heat wave all right?
Yeah, I don't want to be insensitive, but my office is in my basement, which stays a cool 63 degrees, I think, all year round, which is
Nice.
like both a blessing and a curse. I have like wool slippers under my desk that I can embarrass myself with. And, I'm down here in the cave for much of my day. And then I come out somewhere around the mid-afternoon. And so we're surviving and it's, we're doing good. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, we're up north, so we missed a good portion of it. Not that it wasn't warm, but I mean, you guys hit triple digits, right? Did you hit 100 or not?
I don't remember hearing 100,
Okay.
but definitely like humid, hot 90s for sure.
Yeah. No, we did okay. I mean, at our little camp, we have a tiny bedroom air conditioner, which we'll turn on for like half an hour before we go to bed, and then shut the door. But for the most part, we were fine.
Nice.
Got to swim in the lake a little bit and do some canoe time and stuff. So we survived that. When we got home, it was, took a while to cool the house down because we had it off for a couple of weeks, but
right.
Not bad. Last night was pretty cool. So we opened up all the windows, so we're back to normal. My office is the opposite of yours. I'm at home, but I'm above the garage. So it's
the ROG.
Yeah, right. So I'm at the end of the line from an air conditioning standpoint. So not much trickles down here. And then if you got some,
add some lights and some
cars,
computers and things to that. It's pretty toasty. But then does that flip in the winter? Then does it get cold?
No, it usually stays pretty warm actually. Yeah. I would prefer it a little bit cooler anyway. So I don't mind it so much in the winter, and I keep it pretty cool here. If I'm home during the winter, I'm mostly by myself anyway, but I'll sometimes go down to the basement and I'll do, just take my laptop down there in the summer because it's just a little bit cooler.
Nice.
But
I'm going to cut you off only because I want to move into the news. We've been kind of
running through
on news, and I want to be able to loiter on the news.
You remembered to play the clip, which I forgot to do last week.
I'm getting good at the clips. We need to, the segues we got to work on, but those are, what would be nice is if there was like a timer that would just keep us on task throughout the show. That would be like, we're like, and then we do it. But anyways, we've been wanting to talk about some of the news stuff, and I just wanted to make sure we were a little lean on the news past couple of weeks. So what is going on in the news? What did we want to cover that we didn't cover? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, I know we should have said that last time when we got off. Oh, we should have went into this, should have gone into that. Don't know. We can take a gander at what we've.
I posted this. The NFL on CNBC just announced the NFL is coming out with their own streaming service. So death by 1,000 streaming services, of course. I don't know. Are you're baseball for sure, but are you like football or just?
New York Giants fan. My wife is a Steelers fan, so usually we'll get the games here. Living in Connecticut, getting the Giants, and then Steelers have been good. Plus, they have a national audience. So when you factor in, the 4:00 game, Sunday night game, Monday night, Thursday, we get a lot of Steelers games. So we're okay with that. But this NFL package, it's only for mobile devices. So there's
Oh,
no,
you did the research. Okay.
yeah, so there's no Roku app or Apple TV app yet, but obviously they could flip that switch at any point. So, and is this the last year for the DirecTV deal?
It sounds like DirecTV is what do they have? Sunday Game Pass or something?
Yeah, they have the Sunday NFL ticket, which lets you see all the out of market games.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, they talked about so it's not it's not what we all want, which is
Closer.
all the games we want on our streaming TV devices,
Hmm.
but it could be potentially a thing, something, a thing to come. Um, if they have the infrastructure, although I feel like they've had the infrastructure with an NFL app for a while, so I don't know. I mean, it seems like they're going towards this monthly streaming service, but it just keeps falling short. You pointed out that it's mobile only, but will it not come to streaming? I don't know. Did they say it's? I mean, I'm sure it's going to come to set top boxes, but the content will be restricted, right? Because
Yeah.
even the NFL app, I think, was on all of the streaming devices.
Right. Yeah. So you could see like some of their shows or some highlights and stuff, but not the actual games live.
So NFL, according to the CNBC article, NFL Plus marks the first time the NFL has operated its own streaming service, giving the league a new future platform to potentially show exclusive games. MLB and NBA already sell subscriptions to their own streaming services that include out-of-market games.
Hmm.
NFL will include live mobile. That's right, because Verizon and Yahoo, I think, previously had the mobile rights. So the games will be coming to mobile, it looks like. So yeah, I'm just going to renew to anybody working at the NFL watching this podcast. I'm just going to renew my comment that it completely baffles me. I couldn't imagine making our product so hard to consume.
Hmm.
It just would be nice to pay, like, set the price. You know what I mean? Like there's got to
Right.
be a price where I can just watch all the games I want or the team games I want.
Mhm.
Like, what is the price? Is it
Right. And it's,
$500? $500 a month or $500 a year? Like, what's the
I
price?
know. And it really is a back of the napkin calculation. I mean, you know what they get from their DirecTV contract. They know how many subscribers DirecTV has, and chances are they're almost all at this point because of that. So you just say, okay, we need that number plus, an inflation rate. And so how many people do we need to subscribe to the NFL app? And they know they'll
Right.
get that number, and then just price it accordingly. Well, if we think, 75% of the DirecTV subscribers will buy this NFL app, plus we'll get, fill in, what do we need to charge monthly? It's not that difficult, but
Yeah.
I,
I
I
mean,
think a couple things are at play there. They had these long-term contracts, which they couldn't get out of.
right. Right.
And I think it's just kind of an old timey thinking, kind of the idea of a bird in the hand, right? I mean, if you're an owner, you say, listen, we can sign this deal with DirecTV and we'll get however many billions, and we know we have it, versus drawing a line through that and saying, okay, now we need to sell subscriptions. Now we need to do whatever we need to do to get to that number. So maybe that scares some of the owners a little
I
bit,
mean,
but
I mean,
that's a
even on the
bad way of
simplest
thinking.
level, like with the blackouts, what does
Mhm.
the ticket cost? The cheapest ticket to a game at the stadium, $130, I think these days, something
Mhm.
like that. So, and there's only 16 games. So, rounding down, you got $1,600 worth of, a season, for example. It's like, even if you charged $1,600 a year, right? They're
Mhm.
like, at least make that an option. You know what I mean? At
Right.
least if it's like, you know what, I just want to catch the season. I'm not going to go to any games. I want to catch the season. And then just feed that back to your rights holders so that, whatever. But I just can't believe like they're like to making, and you're right. I mean, there's legacy contracts and things and incentives, and of course I'm not even a fly in the room, and when these deals are going down and they're worth billions of dollars, I realize. But just again, making your product so difficult to get a hold of is just baffles me.
I know. And a lot of people like to beat up on Major League Baseball, but they've actually done a fairly decent job, I think, of all the major sports making their out of market games available. I mean, I've had the MLB extra innings package, or MLB TV, it's now called, for years. So it's not, hasn't been a problem at all. And you used to be able to buy that through the cable company, so they'd be a reseller of it before you could really stream as much. So you could buy out of market games on there. So give some credit to Major League Baseball. They've been out in front on this.
Right. Let's see. You want to talk about Army testing electric Humvees?
Yeah. I'd rather talk about that than Elon Musk and the founder of Google, his wife having an affair.
Oh, okay. I didn't post that one. Did you post
I
it?
know. Neither did I. But
it's still speculative, right?
yes.
I don't know if that's confirmed. So I saw a couple articles about the electrification of the military. I think it was a YouTube video. Some YouTuber did a video on whether tanks will go electric or not. This article from the Washington Times: the Army tests electric Humvee for future battle use. What do you think about that?
Well, I think military has historically been kind of a leader in not this space, but leader in technology. Just like NASA, a lot of the technologies we have come from military research or space research. So they can be leaders in the space. I think that's great if it can save taxpayer money and all that. I think it's kind of weird to think about military and saving the planet and wars and that kind of stuff. It is such a weird sort of thing to think about if you get into it deep. But there's no reason that we shouldn't be as electrified as we can on the military side.
Yeah. So you said you hit the point that I wanted to touch on. Like, the military is not going electric for the sake of the climate. This article cites a quote: Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has called climate change an existential threat and is vital for the Pentagon to respond to the challenge. Today, no nation can find lasting security without addressing the climate change. Okay, so first of all, like, I have so many colorful words to use in response to this. The military literally, like, do you know what a burn pit is?
No.
Army burn pit, Iraq. Okay, so like, there's just a whole. So apparently, the military, United States military, whenever they're on a theater of war, and I read some articles on this. I'm not sure if I'm seeing this or not, but so apparently, like in Iraq, for example, there was just this, like, they didn't have a dump or anything, but they just had a constant burning. They had a burn pit. It was literally just a dump size fire that they would just dump machinery, ordnance, oil, and they just kept the thing burning. And there was no trash services. So the United States military doesn't, I don't want to say this because people can change, but like, let's just say the United States military has not been a seasoned protector of the climate. I mean, we have, I think, 12 aircraft carriers. The next largest army, I think, is China or France with 2. And not exactly green going for the military. So this is what the EV industry calls greenwashing.
Right.
But what is interesting, though, is the military is not going to go green or electric because to save the planet. But what they will do is they will use a superior product when it becomes available. And to your point, invest in new technologies. EV cars are not the highest in demand right now because they're new technology or they're fancy. They're better in every way, almost every way, than internal combustion. They're smoother rides, they're faster, they're more acceleration, they're more reliable, they're simpler. I mean, they're just better in every way, and that's what's called a disruptive technology. I mean, in order to have what's called a disruptive technology, it just can't be better in one way. It's got to be better in every way. So that's why the Pentagon will move to the electrification. I mean, think of it like Russia, if you've followed the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, one of the ways that Russia was being hamstrung by the Ukrainians was simply just banging up their own roads, which was stopping Russia's fuel trucks from getting to their tanks and their trucks.
Right.
So if you can, if you have an electrified fleet and a robust, infrastructure for for charging. I mean, I don't know how much downtime a tank has out in the field where it's just kind of posturing or taking cover under some canopy or whatever. But during that time, they might be able to recharge the batteries and not wait around for the gas truck. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, and then the reliability. Oh, and then the other thing too is the heat signature. Tanks
Yes.
give off a significant heat signature because they're driven by jet engines. So it's just they're going to go electric because it's better in every way. And I'm not being an EV fanboy for any other reason that it's just better. I mean, it's not just a climate implication, but
and just from a, this is probably a podcast for a whole nother day, but I mean, where does our oil come from and who are we fighting? The irony of purchasing your fuel from people who could be perceived as your enemies is not a very good military strategy.
No, it's not. That's a very good point. I'm watching the conflict unfold in Europe, and the sanction. I was just trying to come up with a metaphor or something with the sanctions that they're putting on Russia, but like their major export is their oil and their energy. So it's like, no wonder they're disincentivized from doing anything, because it's like we're still bankrolling them. You know what I mean?
Right. And the scary part is a lot of I guess the counterbalance to that article is a lot of the resources we need to build batteries and go this route are not located in the US either. So we could ultimately end up in a similar position because a lot of those natural resources aren't within our borders.
That's true. There's the House Commerce Committee or something up in the Fed is like day by day right now trying to ram a $52 billion chips bill through to try to incentivize chip making companies to put their manufacturing, reshore their chip manufacturing.
Right.
Because most of the chips we get come out of Taiwan, which is, hostile. China is posturing quite hot, in a hostile manner towards Taiwan's independence, and seems like a matter of just days or months before China just renationalizes Taiwan, and like that could be a big problem.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know so much if it's two issues, obviously the manufacturing, but also the raw materials themselves. I don't know if they are anywhere within our borders or if we know that yet, but going to have to find a way to get them from somewhere or be more efficient and recycle the ones we have if possible.
True. Very true. All right. We only have a couple minutes. I don't know if we want to get into the Choco Taco death, but we were at a party Friday, and they hired an ice cream truck to come to the party, and it was kind of like all you can eat ice cream for half an hour or something. I saw a number of Choco Tacos in people's hands, so I was kind of surprised to read this morning.
Yeah, so I didn't see that article, so we got a couple minutes. You'll have to fill me in on that.
Yeah, it looks like Klondike, the maker of the Choco Taco. Is it Choco Taco? Choco Taco? Choco Taco? I don't know. I never could get that right. Yeah. But looks like they're seeing a huge spike in demand across their portfolio, making availability hard. So it's like, hey guys, we can't do it all, it sounds like. So they had to cut somebody, and they went with a Choco Taco.
Oh man.
Just amazing to see some things iconic just go away,
Yeah, that's too bad. I thought when I first saw the headline there, I thought it had to do with some I don't know, somebody viewed it as insensitive or something like that. But I'm glad that that's not the case. So
yeah,
but that's too bad. Yeah, that's a good product.
I mean, I'm surprised too, because I feel like tacos have never been more popular in the zeitgeist,
Yeah, it's a great unifier among us, I think.
Well, everybody loves Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday, I know.
Taco Tuesday, I don't know.
Yeah. We were totally different conversation, but we were talking about like bomb pops, and even if that's still an appropriate name, because I love those, the red, white, and blue pops, even if that's if there might be a name change in the works on that, if people are still comfortable with that.
Bomb pops, right. Should I reconsider my my Facebook groups that I'm helping curate? Remember, I don't know.
Oh
if
yeah,
I
those
can-
are the bomb, right?
those are the bomb, right? If you haven't yet checked out, I have these bomb groups, which are owners and managers, business owners and managers are bomb groups. If you haven't found those yet, check them out. But yeah, maybe hopefully that doesn't go out of style, and I have to reconceptualize our bomb groups.
Yeah, well, the bomb pops is BOMB. That's the official.
Oh, it is an actual bomb, right?
Yeah. Yours are just BOMs. So,
yeah. All right. So we're gonna wrap this up because we have a hard 60-minute ceiling here that we set for ourselves. You're watching Finance and Technology Insights with Brian and Eric. We have a YouTube channel, a Facebook group. Brian's with Northshire Consulting. I'm with EVERNET Consulting. We record every Tuesday morning and we publish hopefully same day. If you haven't already given us a like and subscribe, do so now. We are also on your favorite podcast as well. If you want to troll us, please do so in the comments. We'd love to hear your deepest inner thoughts on our
I'd love it.
On our conversation.
That's a sign you've made it, right? When you start to get some
once
trolls.
you get trolled, you know you made it.
Yeah.
So anything else, Brian, for the good of the order?
I think that's it.
All right, my
do it again
friend.
next week.
I enjoy this very much. We'll see you next week.